when I was a kid, laughing at church was illegal. I remember one time laughing at church, this lady was jumping around and her wig fell off. That stuff was hysterical. I laughed, my grandmother would pinch and twist. I can understand a pinch. You gonna twist? That's the devil. And this church was miserable. I remember one time going to church and it's literally like a dead body in the front. And nobody explains to a 7-year-old Michael Jr., this is a funeral, it's not church. I'm thinking, yo, that's how they roll. Like every 3 weeks or so, they bring a dead body in as an illustration or something. And the dude on stage would yell at us like we did it. I remember asking my grandma, I was like, Grandma, what happened to the man in the box? What happened to the man in the box? Her whole explanation was, he in a better place. I'm like, what kind of box did he live in before? And I'm 7 years old, so I have no idea what's going on. And this dude is on stage, and every time we go to church, it seems like he was mad at us. And I figured out why he was mad. It was because he had some phlegm caught in his throat. Because at the end of every sentence, he would try to get it out. He'd be like, the Lord said, act like you're This is a black church, in case y'all wondering. Some of y'all don't really know what. Church was miserable. It was like the worst. It lasts like 6 hours. Then we go in the basement and eat a sandwich and come back up. Like, what was that, halftime or something? Before I go any further, there's this thing I've been doing lately I want to do with you guys. I would like to explain to you guys how comedy works. Some comedians aren't even aware of this. Some comedians would never share this with you, but I thought I'd share with you how comedy works. Let me explain. First, there's a setup, and then there's a punchline. Let me break it down a little further. The setup is when a comedian will use his talents and resources to seize any opportunity to ensure that his audience is moving in the same direction. The punchline occurs when he changes that direction in a way you weren't expecting. When you catch on to this change, you have received the punchline. The results are revelation, fulfillment, and joy expressed through laughter. I just thought I'd share that with you so you can enjoy these jokes on another level. So 7 years old, I hope you're tracking with me, 14 years old, we don't have a lot of money. Like we don't got no money growing up. Like we ain't had no, I was actually being sponsored by a family from Haiti. Yeah, that's a funny joke, man. Some Christians don't know what to do with that joke. You can't laugh and shake your head. Like, we had no money. When you don't got no money, you get creative. I remember I wanted an action figure. I was 10 years old. I just wanted an action figure around 14, 10 years old, whatever. I'm making this up right now. My dad hands me a box. I opened it up. It was empty. He said, it's Invisible Man. I played with that thing for 3 weeks, man. Till my brother hid it from me, man. Me and a friend made a pact right around 14 years old, too, that we wouldn't curse anymore. I don't know anything about God. My grandmother literally, instead of forcing me to go to church, she would ask me if I wanted to go. So I was like, let me think about this. No. Church was miserable. Why would I go to church? So me and a friend made a pact outside of that we wouldn't curse anymore. He don't know anything about Jesus. I don't know anything about Jesus, but this was the deal. If he heard me curse, he could hit me in the chest hard as he wanted to, and vice versa. Dude could hit hard. I stopped cursing immediately. We still did regular stuff. We played games. One of my friends actually had money. They afforded stuff that we just couldn't get. Like one of my friends had allergies. I wanted allergies too. I didn't even know what they were, man. This is how I found out what allergies were. I went over to his house. His dad made dinner, and he looked at the food and he went like this. He said, "Dad, I'm not gonna eat that." That's what he said to his dad. And my natural response was to duck. If you say something like that to my dad, something gonna happen. But instead, his dad goes like this. "Oh, that's right, I forgot. You have allergies." I was like, what are these allergies? Where can I get some? A few days later, I get home, I get to the green beans on my plate. I'm like, I'm gonna try this. I was like, "Dad, I'm not gonna eat this." Let me just say, there was a bad reaction. There was some swelling and some watery eyes too, man. So, turns out I have allergies after all. I also started noticing around that age I was having a hard time reading. Now, I noticed it before that, but right around 14 years old, I'm also noticing girls. And I don't want the girls to know I'm struggling with my reading. So if I saw a word, let me say, by the way, as an adult, I read just fine. Like the signs over the door that say excite, I can read that stuff. But when I was a kid, I would struggle with my reading. I couldn't sound a word out phonetically. It just didn't work. So I would have to look at the word differently. I would look at the font size, the color of the word, the positioning, what's in front of it, what's behind it, how people are responding to it. I came up with all these ways to look at a word to determine what it was. By the time I got to high school, I was so fast at this, people didn't know I wasn't really reading. I was just working it out. Now as an adult, I read just fine, but I still have this ability to look at words and people and situations 7 different ways almost immediately. In fact, it's the primary place where I pull my comedy from. So that very thing that looked like it was a handicap when I was a kid, God didn't cause it, but he was using it in preparation for what he asked me to do. It wasn't a handicap. It's almost as if I was practicing. I just didn't know I was practicing. Let me say this one more time so you can really understand what I'm saying. That thing from your past, you never met your dad before, you were divorced, whatever that is, God didn't cause it, but he will use it in preparation for what he has for you to do. Somebody may need to hear your story. You've been practicing. You just didn't know you were practicing. So now, here's what's cool. Here's what's cool about practicing, like looking at things differently. Stuff will happen. I had a little kid standing in an autograph line for like 30 minutes. This cool little white kid. I was like, hey, what's up? What's your name? He said, I'm Tanner. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm Tanner. Or people will ask me questions, like weird little questions, like, and I just look at words. It's fun looking at the words or imagine them. They'll say, Michael Jr., where are you from originally? I'm like, originally? Well, I was conceived in Michigan. Before that, I was with my dad. Right? And then there was a swim competition, right? And I won, which is crazy. I didn't even know black people like to swim, man. It's crazy. I don't think we do, actually. I'm 26 years old. I moved to New York City. I hope you're tracking with me. We're going someplace. The reason I moved to New York City is because I'm from Michigan. And in New York, if you're not funny, the way they let you know is they'll say something like, you're not funny. So in New York City, there's this club called the Comic Strip Live that is the best club in New York City. It's so hard to get in this club. They have an open mic on Tuesday nights that starts at 7:30 p.m. Comedians actually start lining up to do 3 minutes in front of the manager at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if for some reason the manager likes them, the next month, they don't have to wait in line. So it's finally my turn to perform at the Comic Strip Live. And right before I get on stage, this comedian named George Wallace walks in. Now, if you don't know who George Wallace is, one of my favorite jokes he does, he says he was in China, he bought a pair of shoes, he looked at the bottom of them, and it said, made right around the corner. Now, I love George Wallace, but here's the problem. Whenever someone like that walks in, whoever's next gets bumped. I'm next, and I know I'm about to get bumped. But no, this is where God shows up for the first time in my life. Well, this is where I noticed him. The manager's walking over to me, he says, listen, Michael, George Wallace is here. Do you want to go before him or after him? I was like, let me think this over. Before him, please. So I go before George Wallace, and I got New Yorkers laughing. Not only are New Yorkers laughing, but he's laughing as well after he comes into the room. And then after the show, there's a bunch of comedians that are all around him, asking him questions. He leaves them, and he comes over to me. And he says, you're really funny. I was like, wow, snap, thanks, man. He said, let me ask you a question. He said, like, why don't you curse? I was like, I don't know, where'd my grandmother walk in? My grandmother wasn't coming to New York? But what else I was gonna say? My friend might hit me in the chest? I'm a grown man. The truth is, I didn't have any reason not to curse, except for the fact that I made a deal with a friend a long time ago. I had no idea. So So I decide, he says to me, you're funny and you're really, really clean. I'd love for you to do a show with me and my best friend in a couple nights. I don't even know his best friend is. It don't matter. I could do another show. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm like, yeah. We get to the show. It's me, George Wallace, Jerry Seinfeld. So we do 2 shows. I get 2 standing ovations. I rip. I'm the man. I'm like, yeah. After the show, the club manager, it's a different club, he walks up to me and he says, hey, listen, Michael, you had a great set tonight. Would you like to go to church with me tomorrow? It's like, church? I just got 2 standing ovations, man. Why you messing this up right now, man? Nobody going to church, man. That stuff is miserable. Nobody going to church. You better back up. I ain't going to church. 20 minutes later, his fiance asked me the same question. She was fine. I mean, she was beautiful. And she had some kind of accent, too. She was like, Michael Jr., would you like to go to church with us? I was like, I was just looking for a church the other day, man. I was like, man, you find me a church, man. Shoot, man. So I go to this church for the wrong reasons. And I can't even find these people. I'm sitting way in the back. This church is huge. It's like 4,000 people at this church. I'm sitting way in the back. And this dude comes out on stage, right? And he was talking about Jesus. That's it. He was just talking. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't yelling. He didn't have no perm. Like, he was just talking about Jesus. Then he did this thing where he said, can I get a hallelujah? That's what he said. Can I get a hallelujah? And I know what that means. That means you want me to say what you just said, but I don't know what that means, so I ain't saying it. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And then he says, in case there's anyone in here that doesn't know what hallelujah means. And then I said, this place is creepy. He said, it's the highest praise you can give. And then he did this thing where he did an altar call. He did an altar call, and Pastor Craig does this phenomenal. He does this altar call where he said, if you want Jesus in your life, all you have to do is believe in your heart, confess with your mouth, and then raise your hand or come forward. And I really wanted to do it. I'm telling you, I really wanted to, but I was like, nah, I got to read the pamphlet first. I don't know, man. Because I knew a couple Christians, and they was kind of creepy. There's some creepy Christians out there. If you don't know any creepy Christians, it's you. Yeah, I'm just saying your friends know one. Or should I say your friend knows one. So I told myself, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I gotta read the pamphlet first. And I was like, I don't know, because it could be a catch or something. Because there's some Christians who, you ever know a Christian and they cool at first, and then when they start talking about God, their voice change? Like you just talk, hey, you see the game? It was a good game, man. Like, can I tell you about the Lord? What is wrong with your voice? What just happened to the octaves? So I told myself I'd read the whole Bible before I went to the altar. I didn't even have a Bible. I didn't know it was that big. And this lady at the O'Hare Airport, I don't even know this lady. Out of nowhere, she just hands me her Bible. We never even exchanged words. She just handed me her Bible. So I opened the Bible up, and the Bible was made, I read the copyrights first. The Bible was made in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Me too. Read the Bible, I'm going to church. I'm reading the Bible, I'm going to church. And now I'm I'm digging in. I don't understand, but I'm reading the Bible. At this point in New York, all I'm doing the whole time I'm in New York City is hitting the comedy clubs, reading the Bible, and sleeping. Like, that literally is all I'm doing. I'm putting in like 14 hours a day, because now I really want to get my life over to Jesus, but I told myself I'd read the Bible first. You don't have to do that. I just wanted to stick to what I said. So I'm digging into it, 14 hours a day. It's like 9 pages a day. I was digging in. I was like... I get to the part of Matthew where it said Jesus died for me. I did not know that Jesus died for me until I was 27 years old. Literally, I didn't know. I'd been to church, people yelling, screaming. I saw the little crucifix thing. Same thing was on a rapper's neck. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I didn't know until I read it right there in Matthew that Jesus died for me. I didn't know. Then I turned to Mark, and he died again. I'm like, what is going on? Why they keep killing him? I don't understand what's going on. Get to Revelations, I was like, reading the Bible was like paying bills. You gotta pay attention to the red ink. Like, you better pay attention to something gonna get cut off or something gonna happen. So I finished reading the Bible, and I go to church, and I run up to the altar like during the announcements. I was like, yeah, I know you got a picnic on Saturday, but is Jesus here right now? Because I'm ready. So I give my life over to God, and now I understand some stuff. Like, I understand. Before, I just thought I was funny, but now I understand I'm funny for a reason. Like, there's purpose behind me having a sense of humor, and God has a purpose for it, just like he has a purpose for you. He even has a purpose for the things that you've been through, even though he didn't cause them, but he's using them. You've been practicing. For a lot of you guys, it is game time. Or you'll end up on the field not knowing what to do and then just practicing some more. So now I'm in that club and I leave New York because it's extremely expensive and I move to Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is the #1 club in the country. The best I can't even get inside this club physically, except for the fact that my friend George Wallace is in town and he takes me into the Comedy and Magic Club. Now he can't get me on stage, he can only get me inside the club. And at the time, some of you guys may remember a football player got hit in the eye with a flag and he was suing the league for $400 million. And now in the green room is George Wallace, Gary Shanley, Jay Leno. And these guys are working on this joke subject for the Tonight Show's monologue on NBC. I'm not saying anything. I'm just happy to be in there eating French fries with these dudes. But your gift will make room for you. So I'm sitting there and they're working on the joke. Then it got quiet and they looked at me and I was like, oh, snap. This is an opportunity. I was like, all right, let me see if I got this right. He got hit in the eye with a flag. He lost his vision in one eye and he's suing the league for $400 million. He's not gonna see half of it. Like, for real. Here's the thing. How did I get that joke that fast under that much pressure? The truth is, it wasn't as much pressure as you might think, because I've been practicing since I was a child in the form of a kid who had a hard time reading. I've been practicing just like you've been practicing. You probably didn't know you were practicing, though. I'm here to let you know you've been practicing, and it's game time. But you have to be able to hear the coach's voice. So now I'm in the club. Like, I'm in the club, and probably 5 years ago, right before I got on stage, I was headlining there. God gave me a change in mindset about comedy. Normally, when a comedian gets on stage, he wants to get laughs from people. That's what I was all about. And then God said to me simply, no, what I want you to do is go up there and give them an opportunity to laugh. Romans 12:2, be not conformed to the ways, you're gonna look it up. He said, give them an opportunity to laugh. This right here has changed everything about everything that we do as a company. Because I'm not looking to take, I'm looking to give. If you can get a hold of this, it will literally, for real, in every way, change your life. Because if you walk into a room and you're asking the question, what can I give? You're just in a better place. You are more like Jesus under those circumstances. And if you haven't made that decision to ask that question, by default, you were saying, what can I get? So when you make the choice, it literally changes everything. So now I do my show. We have a great time. I leave the club that night. There's people around. They want autographs, high fives. It's like this whenever I leave this club now. But this in particular night, while I'm talking to the people, I look across the street and I saw a homeless guy. I had never seen a homeless guy outside this club before, ever. But that doesn't mean he wasn't there before. That just means before, my mindset was to get laughs from people. So why would I even notice a homeless guy? I noticed him and I was like, what about him? How could I give him an opportunity to laugh? Then I asked God, and God was like, you really want to know? And I was like, nope. And I said, yes, and we went and did this comedy tour. We started going to homeless shelters and prisons. So whenever I do a concert somewhere, we always look for a prison or a homeless shelter to do comedy at. We go to this one prison, I got to tell you what happens. I'm scared for real. As soon as we walk in, the ward took my belt from me. He's like, you can't have a belt. Somebody might try to hang you. I'm like, can't they just boo me or something? Why you gotta hang me? I'm in prison, my pants loose. This is a bad idea, man. I got 7 different ways to look at this, man. So I'm scared for real, and I'm walking in this prison, and I know I need to be funny immediately. Normally, if you ever come see me in concert, I take my time, it's cool, it's interactive. No, I need them to like me immediately, but not too much. So I'm walking into prison, and I need a joke, and I'm doing the math, and first of all, bars, when you walk in, the bars open in front of you, you take a few steps and they close, and there's some more bars, and you just take a couple. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Welcome home. Anyway, so I'm scared. I'm walking in, and I know I need a joke immediately, and I got nothing. 7 different ways to nothing. I had one joke pop up, but I wasn't going to start with it. I was going to be like, you know what? You guys are a captive audience. I just want to say that, So I'm scared for real, and I'm walking in, and I literally have nothing, and all the prisoners are sitting in here. First of all, there's no stage. Like, there's no glass. We're not doing comedy on the phone. These cats are right here expecting funny, and I got nothing. 7 different ways to nothing. And I remember walking in, and all of them got on pink jumpsuits. So what? I ain't saying nothing about them jumpsuits. And they're all sitting there, and I figure I got 2 steps left before I got to bring the funny, before instinctively they know that I got nothing, and I don't know what's going to happen because there's no guards in there with me. The guards left me at the last gate, and they gave me a little black box, and they put it on my pants, and they said, if anything happens, pull the pin. Don't they know about the pin? It's probably one dude, his job is to hold the pin. So I take my first step, I still got nothing. I lift this foot up, still got nothing. I settle this foot, and for real, Life Church, listen, sitting right up front is a white dude with a white beard named Moses. I was like, thanks, Lord. When I said these words of Moses, the place exploded in laughter. We had an amazing time. I said, Moses, this is what I want you to do. When you see the prison warden, I want you to look him in his eye. I want you to look him right in his eye, and I want you to say, let my people go. Like, for real. So here's the thing. How did I get that joke that fast under that much pressure? It wasn't that much pressure because I'd been practicing just like you have been practicing. Before I bounce, I'd like to explain to you how life works, at least from a comedian's perspective. First, there's a setup, and then there's a punchline. The setup is your talents, your resources, and your opportunities. And most of the time, we use our setup to ensure that our audience or the people around us are moving in a direction that serves us. Which means the punchline occurs when you change that direction in a way they weren't expecting. You actually use your setup for other people. The results are the same, yet multiplied. Revelation, fulfillment, and joy. But it's not just for the one receiving your punchline. It's also for you who get to deliver the punchline as well.